Have you ever traveled somewhere and felt like it completely changed your view on the whole world? This is a question I want you guys to think about as we go through this video on the 5 main reasons why travel is extremely important in 2025. As we go through this video, I want you guys to be thinking about the question that I had posed at the beginning of this video, which was, have you ever traveled somewhere and felt like your entire perspective on the world changed? Now, this is a very powerful question that I think is very important to analyze. And if you have had this feeling before in the past, I want you guys to comment down below and let me know what country you were in, what were you doing, and just what made you feel this way in general. But for the rest of the video, we're going to be going over the 5 main reasons why travel is so important. So let's get into it. So, reason number one of why travel is so important. We are going to start off by talking about the importance of meeting and connecting with people. Now, I'm going to share a personal life experience that I personally went through a few years ago. In the year 2023, my college, where I was going at the time, had an offer to go on a trip, on a university trip to London in July of 2023. And so at the time, I was going through a lot of anxiety, heart problems, and I hadn't yet solved my SVT problem, which we'll get into later videos. But I hadn't yet solved that problem, and I was very nervous. I really wanted to go, but at the same time I didn't, and I was kind of on the fence about it for a very long time. But I saw a lot of videos talking about how it's very important to take opportunity. As we all know, it's very important to take the opportunities presented to you when they are, and I finally decided that I should just go and just see what happens. So I went on this trip, and long story short, I met a lot of really cool people, a lot of really nice people that I made a lot of connections with. But essentially, this trip ended up being one of the best moments of my life. It was from a Friday night to a Saturday night, I believe. It was a 7 to 8 day trip. And I guess my point that I'm trying to make here is whenever there is an opportunity to travel, when it's presented to you, or even if it's not presented to you, I just think that travel is so important and you'll never know what's going to come of it. Obviously, this was through a school, so this could be a little different than a situation that you might be going through. Maybe you just want to travel alone, or you don't know many people to travel with, which I totally understand, but they have opportunities. So if you are in university, they definitely do have the opportunity out there. Of course, you do have to pay, but if it's not too much, I definitely recommend it. It would be some of the best memories that you can possibly make, because once you graduate university, you're never really going to have the same opportunities that you once had. And just to add to that, if you aren't in university or you have never been to university, totally understand. And the thing is, I don't want you to feel like you'll never get that opportunity just because you didn't go to a university or a college. You can definitely get that opportunity. There are websites out there which I could find, and I can possibly link down below if I do find them. But there are a bunch of websites out there that offer these opportunities. Again, there's the word opportunity, to go on these trips with large groups or small groups, however you like. They can go to all different countries. I've seen ads for them, I've seen promotions for them, and I think that would be a really cool opportunity for you guys to take because of the amazing benefits that travel has to offer. Now, let's say you don't feel comfortable with these large groups because they're a bunch of strangers that you don't really know too well, and you might have to be spending a lot of time with them, so you don't want to waste your money and not know who you're spending your time with. I totally understand that. So another way to make connections or just to meet people in general would be to travel alone. You can just travel alone and meet so many people. I'm going to give you guys a quick story right now. So last summer, I went to Spain to visit family with my family from here in the United States. And on the plane there, I wasn't sitting next to my family, so I had to sit next to a stranger. And this stranger ended up being like the nicest guy. We talked the entire flight, probably 6, 7 hours, just talked about different stories, life experience, and just so many different things. And it's just incredible because you never know when you're going to meet someone where you can learn so much from, or you can meet someone that could potentially pose an opportunity for you, depending on what your niche is, what your skill is, or just what you enjoy doing. And I think this is very important. And again, another main reason why travel is so important, and just the amazing people that you can meet, not only on tours that you go with, but just people you can meet in other countries on the flight, waiting in line at TSA at the airport. You never know where you can meet someone just so similar to you, or someone that you wish that you could become one day, and someone you could take a lot of advice and tips from. Okay, so now moving on to reason number 2, which is exploring potential places to live. And I'm just going to share a quick story. I went on vacation a few years ago to a specific part in Portugal. I had been to Portugal many times before, but I had never been to this specific part in Portugal, and I fell in love. The second I got there, I had this feeling that like I was home. It was very weird. It was like as soon as I got to the airport, I had this feeling like I even told my parents, I'm like, why do I feel like I've been here before? Why do I feel like I live here, or like I used to live here? It was a very weird feeling. But anyways, I fell in love with this place, and again, all came from traveling. So you had to travel there in order to discover it and discover the feeling that you get when being there. Now, the reason I'm telling you guys this story is because I don't believe that humans exist just to exist. What do I mean by that? I don't believe that the proper cycle of life is to be born, grow up, and work a job that you hate for 40, 50 plus years until you die. I don't think that's the way that life should be lived, and I don't think you're truly living if that is your life. So if you're just living within the confines of where you were born and where you grew up, so that few square mile range, the same city, the same hometown, I just don't think you're truly living. I think that humans were meant to conquer and explore and discover new things, and it's just what makes us happier as humans. It's a good dopamine hit. It's a real dopamine hit, not scrolling through Instagram on your phone, destroying your attention span and destroying your brain cells essentially, but just going out, exploring, seeing things for yourself, having life experience, going through obstacles, overcoming obstacles. I think it is the most beautiful thing that a human can do. Now, that just got really off track there. But anyways, exploring potential places to live. I got really deep into that. But to travel and to see and to know where you want to live by visiting all these different places, I think is the most important thing that you can do, especially when you're younger rather than when you're older and you're scrambling to find somewhere to live, you're scrambling to find a career. So to know where you want to live is important because it'll help you get ideas of the career you want. Maybe you like to work in a physical location. Well, then you would have to think, okay, well, if there's this office building here, if there's this company that's located here, I would be stuck in that geographical region, but I would enjoy working there. Or if you want to work somewhere completely remote, like a lot of people are doing YouTube and they're moving out to like Bali and Thailand because the cost of living is so low. If you want to do something like that, then you would have to pre-plan that and think, okay, well, there's not really many opportunities there. So what I would have to do is make most of my money online, making a strictly online income. And it's all up to you. It's all dependent on who you are and what your preferences are. But the only way you can know this is if you're traveling to other countries and you're exploring, maybe it's a different state or a different country. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. All right, so now to move on to reason number 3, which is to gain a new perspective on life. So this basically ties into the question that I had asked you guys at the beginning of the video, and I hope you guys are still thinking about it, because I did ask you guys to keep thinking about it, so you guys better be listening. But to gain a new perspective on life, what does that mean? So some people go to a country like Egypt, or they go to a country like Japan, where there's a lot of rich cultural history, and it gives people just a whole new perspective on their perception of their own life in many ways, because of ancient civilizations, just the history surrounding it, and just overall how traveling to these countries really make you feel. So it's something that I definitely would recommend. And I guess one story I could share about this, I know I have a lot of stories today, would be when I went on that London trip and we went to Stonehenge. Now that was surreal. Like that was just a crazy experience because it's so well known. It's such a popular site that people have on their bucket lists for their entire life, right? So you have people that have these things on their bucket list that they wish, oh, maybe next summer I'll go to that place I always wanted to go. Oh, maybe in a few years I'll plan that trip. I never understood that when people are like, oh, yeah, my friend, she's planning this trip to go to Japan in a few years. But, like, why? Why are you planning that so far in ahead? How do you even know that you'll get to that point in full health and nothing will happen before then? I think it's so important to plan your trips at least within a year because, like, why are you waiting that long to go and do the thing that you want to do? If you want it that bad, you're going to do it. You're going to find a way to do it, and you're going to get it done as fast as you can. Anyways, to get back on track, I think the next point I wanted to tackle within this reason was how travel and how gaining a fresh perspective on life contributes to you also seeing your home country or your hometown in a completely different light. So, what do I mean by that? So, essentially, what I'm talking about is I know that for those of you who've traveled, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You go to a new country, you go to a new place, and you instantly think, like, wow, I live where I live, essentially. I'm living in a place where the weather sucks, the people are mean, the people are rude, the job opportunity isn't that great, there's high competition in every area, whether it's dating or whether it's getting a job, and there's just a lot of competition. Now you go somewhere and everyone's so friendly, it's so nice, the lifestyle is insane, you can go out at night, you can have fun, you can meet new people because everyone is so friendly. The weather is amazing almost all year round in a lot of other countries other than the US and Canada. And I think this is just very important to experience at least one time in your life because you'll get a good perspective of how life should be lived. And basically, what I'm just trying to say here is that this can all help inspire you and help you achieve the goals that you always wanted to achieve, or move to that place you've always wanted to move to, or just have new career opportunities, right? So you may see something in a different country, you may hear something from someone, as we talked about, and now it inspires you to be like, hey, maybe I might be interested in that. How do I do that? And you start asking questions, you start researching, and maybe this is how you can find the next thing that you would love to do in your life. So with that being said, we're going to move on to reason number 4. With this being said, this brings us to reason number 4, which is discovering hidden opportunities. Now, what does that mean? We went over some of this already in this video, but I'll go over it again more in depth. Basically, like I was talking about, there could be hidden opportunities right in front of you. I think the key word in this video has been opportunity. Whether you feel like it's right or the wrong decision, I think that taking any kind of travel opportunity you would never regret, even if it's expensive. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself here because I said if it's too expensive, don't do it. But I would argue that if it is expensive, do it anyway, because the money, you can always make it back, but the memories, you can't. So travel, for me, is very important, and I never realized how important it was until I started traveling more and meeting more people, and just coming into contact with other people who have traveled and have had amazing memories that they will never forget. So I think this is very important as we tie everything together here in reason number 4. So another way you can find a hidden opportunity is, let's say you meet someone in, I don't know, Spain, and you're talking to this person, you find out they're American, you're like, oh, what are you doing here? You're American, you're on vacation, and you find out that this person is actually not on vacation, and they got a job in Spain teaching English at Spanish schools, so they essentially teach English to non-native English speaking students or even adults, and now you're like, wait, that sounds really cool. I'd be interested in doing something like that. So now you're kind of making these connections. This is just an example, but you're making these connections with people subtly without even realizing it, because now they're putting thoughts into your head without you even realizing it, because now you're like, maybe I might be interested in that. So again, this is another perk of traveling and uncovering hidden opportunities. Okay, and this brings us to our last point, our fifth reason why travel is so important, which is because of mental and emotional health. Now, I want you guys to think back to COVID, right? What were you guys doing? You were locked in your house all day for months and months on end, doing absolutely nothing, not being productive, not being allowed to even go out and do anything really. And I want you guys to think about how that made you feel. You felt isolated, you felt trapped, stuck, right? Like you couldn't get out. You wanted to get out and you couldn't. All of this stress, right? What did you feel like doing? I'm sure a lot of you felt like you needed to get out and you needed to travel as soon as all of this was over. You need to go out, go to another country, spend a few weeks abroad, and just relieve all of your stress. So that's what we're going to be talking about on this topic. So travel can be a great way to reduce stress. There have been many studies that I found personally on this, and how just traveling and being on vacation, being by a beach, maybe not even being by a beach, but just traveling and leaving your hometown, right? So this whole key idea of leaving your hometown. I know, what a concept, but it's so important, and it'll benefit you in so many ways that you wouldn't even think possible, because you're just think about it this way. Every single day for 65 to 70 years, depending how long you live, even 80 up to 85 years, you are driving your car to work every single day. You're stopping at the same stop signs. You're seeing the same exact faces every single day. You are seeing the same traffic lights. You're seeing the same restaurants. You're going to eat at the same restaurants. You're going to the same gas stations. You are doing the same thing on repeat hundreds and hundreds of times for the rest of your life. It's just, to me, I don't know about you guys, to me that sounds so miserable and depressing, because you don't really have anything to look forward to. You're not building towards anything. There's no progression if you're just in the same exact spot. You're watching the same YouTube videos in the same spot in your house since you were like 8 years old. I don't know. To me, I can't fathom living in the same exact place or the same hometown, the same state even, for my entire life. It's just very depressing to think about it that way, and I want to know what you guys have to think about this. So please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything I had to say today in this video. So if you please can, I ask that you share this video to at least 2 of your friends who don't travel or who do travel and they want to reinforce the benefits of traveling.